Hi guys, this video is going to cover brown leaves on houseplants and how to fix them. I'm going to go through all the things that I look for whenever I get brown leaves on one of my houseplants and the approach I take to fix the plant and restore it to health. So brown leaves on houseplants are something that you really don't want to see. It's so disappointing when you have a houseplant that maybe you've just bought or you've had for a while and you've been enjoying it and it's been looking fantastic, and then all of a sudden it starts to get a brown leaf, or part of a leaf turns brown, and then another one, and then a few more, and before you know it, your houseplant's looking a bit sad, and you might start panicking and thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on here? How can I fix it? And what on earth is causing these brown leaves? I'm trying so hard, and yet nothing seems to be working. So I'm going to use a few example plants that I've got that have a few brown leaves just to discuss the different causes. So we'll start with this blue star fern. This is a plant that I've had for about 6 months or so, and I actually bought it online, and when it arrived, unfortunately it wasn't in great condition. It had quite a lot of brown leaves, so I have had to work reasonably hard with this plant to try and get it to grow some nice healthy leaves and get it looking a wee bit better. So the first thing you want to think about whenever you see brown leaves on your houseplants is, what's the pattern of the browning? Is it the tips of the leaves? Is it the edges of the leaves? Is it brown spots or patches on the leaves? And also, is it the leaves at the top of the plant? Is it the older foliage down below? Or is it kind of all over? Are there brown patches everywhere and there's no real pattern? The other thing you want to think about is how long you've had the plant, where you've been growing the plant, and what sort of care you've been providing to the plant, because these can all give you clues as to what the problem is. So we'll just run through a few things one by one to try and give you an idea of what I'm thinking about when I see brown leaves on my houseplants. So the first thing is humidity. Well, low humidity can cause brown leaves in a lot of houseplants, particularly sensitive species like ferns, palms, calafias, alocasias. They tend to be very prone to getting brown edges and tips with low humidity. And basically this is just caused because the leaves are losing a lot of water through transpiration, and the roots aren't able to compensate by absorbing water fast enough. So the edges of the leaves die, and then your plant starts looking a bit unhealthy. Now, the best thing to do in this situation is check the humidity levels. So I use a digital hygrometer or digital humidity meter, and this just tells me what the current humidity level is in my home, and it also tells me what the lowest humidity has been and the highest humidity has been since I've reset the monitor. So I can get a really good idea of what the humidity levels are to know if there's a problem. And thankfully, humidity levels in my home are around about 65–70% currently, so I know that humidity is not a factor in the brown leaves on most of my plants. Now, this one's slightly different because I bought this online and it arrived in poor condition with brown leaves, and then that brings up another potential cause, and that's acclimation. So whenever you buy a houseplant, it's likely been grown in perfect conditions by the grower, and most houseplants we buy look absolutely fantastic. We bring them home, and within a short period of time, particularly the sensitive ones, something starts to go wrong. They start to develop a yellow leaf or a brown leaf or a brown patch on a leaf. And this is just because of two things. Number one, the conditions have changed and the plant is acclimatizing to the conditions in your home. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You may be providing perfectly adequate conditions in your home, but they are different and the plant has to adapt. The other thing is transit from the grower's nursery to your home. Even if that's maybe been a relatively short journey, you've maybe bought it directly from the grower and brought it to your home, it can still stress a plant, it can still cause acute stress. And certainly if you're buying plants online where they're going to be wrapped up for a couple of days, they're going to suffer a wee bit of stress, so you've got to expect some browning of the leaves. Next thing to think about is lighting. So you need to be very aware of how much light plants need. If you provide direct sunlight for a sensitive plant like this blue star fern, for example, it'll start to develop scorch marks on the leaves or brown tips, and the leaves will curl. So you've got to tailor the amount of lighting to your plant. I suppose, yeah, Calatheas, ferns, alocasias, they're all quite sensitive. Philodendrons, a lot of them are very sensitive to direct sunlight. So, but this should be easy enough to work out. All you need to do is observe your plant over the space of a few days and see how much light it's getting. And bear in mind, of course, that lighting levels do change as the year progresses. So your plant might be perfectly happy sitting on a south-facing windowsill in the middle of winter, but come the summer, certainly this blue star fern would not be happy at all. Next thing to think about is watering. So if you underwater your plant, it's going to get brown tips, brown edges, the leaves may curl. Equally though, overwatering can sometimes cause brown patches on your plants as well. If you overwater your plants, it tends to make fungal and bacterial diseases much more likely, so you can get large or small irregular brown spots or patches all over your plant. So if you do notice a few wee brown spots developing and then a few more, and there doesn't seem to be any pattern to it, look really closely. Could this be a disease? And then you want to think about the watering conditions. Have I left the soil soggy? Is it too humid? Am I not providing enough ventilation? And if you think it is a disease, you want to prune off any affected foliage immediately and quarantine your plant from any other plants that might develop a disease as well, because it's such a shame for you to spread a disease amongst loads of houseplants and then have a real issue. The other interesting thing with overwatering is initially when you overwater most houseplants, they'll develop generally yellow leaves and you might get some leaf edema. But as time goes on and the roots start to suffer, they get a bit of root rot, they stop working properly and they can't absorb water. So your plant can actually start to develop symptoms of underwatering because the leaves just can't get the water that they need from the soil, from the roots. So you can actually get brown tips and brown edges and even leaf curling from an underwatering situation. And that's why watering is such an important aspect to get right and just keep an eye on, because you might see brown tips and curling the leaves and immediately assume you're underwatering your plant, and then you go and water it and you only make the problem worse. So actually assess the soil, feel the soil, check to make sure that your pot's got drainage holes, and only water your plants when they really need watering. Last point about watering is impurities. So most tap water contains chlorine and chloramines, and if these build up in some houseplants, they can develop toxicity and get brown tips. Equally, fluoride is another mineral that's commonly in tap water, either added artificially or present naturally, and this can accumulate in water or in the leaves rather, and it'll cause brown tips and brown edges. Now, chlorine you can usually eliminate by filtering tap water or leaving tap water out on a sunny windowsill for 12 to 24 hours. This causes the chlorine to disperse and then you can safely water your plants. But if you've got fluoride in your tap water, well, you can't eliminate this that way. You need to, I'm not even sure whether filtering your water would help with this problem. You're better using rainwater or distilled water to water your plants in this case. Now, where water impurities will crop up is if you are providing good care for your plants and you've really been through everything and you can't work out what's going on, that's probably when you think about watering, or you may already be aware that there are high levels of chlorine or fluoride or other impurities in your water. But certainly if you're running out of ideas, changing the type of water that you're using to water your houseplants is a really good idea. So the next thing I'm going to discuss is temperatures and drafts. So a lot of our houseplants originate from tropical conditions, from rainforests where they're subject to very consistent temperatures. They don't get any sudden spikes in cold air or warm air, and they haven't developed any ability to cope with this. So if you put a houseplant next to a air conditioning vent or a heating vent, or you put it next to a drafty window, it's really going to hate that. It can really look very unhappy if it's exposed to drafts. It can droop, it can develop brown leaves, some plants will drop their leaves. it's definitely something to think about, and certainly if you've got any problems with your houseplants, you really want to check for that and maybe consider moving, well, definitely consider moving your houseplant if it is exposed to drafts. Next thing is the type of plant. I think we've obviously already mentioned this, but this blue star fern is prone to brown leaves. Not particularly, but it is a little bit more sensitive than some. The other one that I got quite recently is this Alocasia black velvet. Alocasias are certainly very prone to a lot of issues. They're prone to bacterial and fungal leaf diseases. They are prone to developing brown tips and edges from watering issues, water impurities, low humidity. A lot of different issues can cause brown tips on them. The other ones that are absolutely famous for getting brown leaves are Calatheas. Now, I absolutely love Calatheas, and I like the challenge of trying to keep them healthy, but even with, pretty reasonable care, they can get these brown, this one's got sort of wee brown edges, sort of quite deep into the center of the plant. This is one that, again, I bought quite recently, so I think it's probably still acclimating, but I'm just trying to provide really consistent conditions, and I'm watching these brown spots really closely to see, do more develop? Is this a sign of a problem? And these brown patches, they're getting quite crispy, and they don't seem to be spreading, and there don't seem to be new ones developing. So I'm quite happy with this plant. The other one I have here is my Calafia Orbifolia. And again, Calafia Orbifolia, it's not the most fussy Calafia in the world, but you do need to be on your toes. And again, if you're falling down in one aspect of care, then it will develop brown patches and brown edges. So again, Calatheas are a great learning resource, I think, because they really do, they get you checking your plant and really thinking about the care that you've provided. Sometimes, I will check this almost on a daily basis to see what's happening with it. If it is getting brown edges or brown tips, and making small adjustments to try and keep it as good as possible. One of the things I did with this actually was I divided this plant about 4 or 5 months ago. So that caused a lot of stress with this plant. So I think part of the reason why this has got a few brown edges is that it's just, had recent stress and it's recovering, but a lot of the new foliage is looking okay, so I'm happy enough. The other one I have is this Areca palm. Now, Areca palms are lovely indoor palms. They're not desperately difficult to care for, but I do tend to find that even with really good care, I'm providing this with, perfect lighting and humidity, and I'm being very careful with the watering, but still I'm getting a few brown tips on the leaves. Now, it may be that it's the type of water that I'm using. I'm just using tap water, and there may well be some fluoride and chlorine in it. So I should maybe think about changing the water quality. Last thing we're going to discuss is old foliage. Okay, I think this Areca palm maybe has a couple of fronds that are going a little bit more brown. Not really, possibly this one here is starting to go quite brown. This is a bit of an older frond, and sometimes you will find that houseplants will develop a few lower leaves go brown really quite quickly, and almost the whole leaf goes brown. And this is normal. As long as it's only a few leaves, older leaves, you will get leaves turning brown over time and being replaced by newer foliage. And this is okay. It tends to be more common as you come into the autumn and the winter. Light levels fall, the plant stops growing so quickly, and it'll typically shed some older leaves that the plant decides, well, I don't need those anymore, I'll just get rid of them. And then next spring, hopefully it'll have a real spurt of growth. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope that's been useful in terms of covering how I think about brown leaves in my houseplants. The thing that I really wanted to get across with this video is just that there are so many causes of brown leaves in houseplants, and it's really important to think about each houseplant individually and go through all the aspects of care, because it's only by doing that that you're going to identify the correct cause for your plant. and you'll be able to make the changes that's going to restore your plant to good health. Now, please make some comments below, ask me any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd love you to subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much, guys. Take care. Bye.